the best-selling areas in the entire Sarasota, Florida metro, but not just my personal opinion or neighborhoods I'm into, where people actually spent their physical dollars in 2023. I just recently went through a very painstaking process of pulling 20,067 individual records, which is technically every single line item sale that happened in the 2 counties that make up our beautiful Southwest Florida area. So hopefully my strife is to your benefit in that regardless of where you're at in your home search, this should make it a heck of a lot easier. You take your price range, your square footage, your bedrooms you want, and you know immediately the 3 areas that not just you guessed might work for that, but where all the sales happen. You could drill down to the neighborhoods. Is it a condominium versus single family? I'm gonna show you every bit of that today. And a bonus, everything you see in today's video is completely free. Links everywhere, description box below on the video. You grab what I'm gonna show you today, that's yours. I'm gonna update it in real time on the website. You can download it again. It is yours. You can play with it individually. You can use our team. You cannot, and it's still yours. My name is Adam Hancock. Thank you so much for joining the Florida Relocation Guide, your smartest way to buy, sell, and or invest in the entire state of Florida. And without further ado, let's hop in. I'm gonna tell you what all this means, so don't be stressed out at this point, but we're gonna do like 20 birds, 1 stone. And I'm gonna show you, we're gonna talk about the actual data, show you how the tool works. This is really a mountain out of a molehill situation. What I'm gonna show you is examples, but I don't wanna make this super boring and long, so we're gonna make it consumable, and I hope that's valuable. So the first thing I did is I turned zip code into area. There's a lot of zip codes, they're confusing, they blur lines. People shop certain areas, and I'm a locals person in Sarasota, so I turned it into where people actually look, and I made that meaningful. You also see, and that's what you're gonna see here, you also are gonna see all the records in this table, and I'm gonna show you how my filters work here and different things you can do with it. And then just display-wise, I thought it'd be valuable to show a sold price average, price per square footage, actual square footage, bedrooms and bathrooms you can get on average, average year built, etc. And I'm gonna tell you what that means. But what we're gonna do here as far as real data, there was 4 areas of the 39 plus zip code areas. There were 4 that were significant data-wise as far as volume of sales in 2023, which are good indicators because if you have a certain criteria and you're like, would this work? And I'm not ready right now. It would be nice to know that 30% of the sales happened in that area because it's probably a good chance that it's plausible to say that that could happen similar later versus like the one random gold rush, one person got an opportunity, which isn't realistic for the next person. All right, so number 1 overall, and this gets pretty interesting actually, number 1 overall is Parrish, Florida. And what Parrish is historically, in the minds of the people, if we had a broad brush, a lot of people that loved Lakewood Ranch, and it didn't work for whatever reason. It could be price, it could be they wanted an advantage, a lot of it was criteria. Maybe they wanted closer access to Tampa Bay, but a lot of times they really would have chosen Lakewood if they had the opportunity. And look at number 2, is the north quadrant of Lakewood Ranch. And I did split Lakewood north versus south because it is a vast territory and it's very different of how it evolved over time. But look at this. If you just had 2 lines of data as a quick example, number 1 and number 2, 20,000 plus records, we had, what is that? 3,498 happened on just these 2 lines. But then you step down and you say the average price in Parrish was $491 on recorded sales, $655 in this part of Lakewood, which is the more affordable average quadrant of Lakewood Ranch. Price per square footage, look at your bang for your buck, similar size house, and you get an extra bedroom potentially, a lot of times an extra pool, and a similar year built. And this is exactly what happens to people. Is north, the Lakewood Ranch north of State Road 70, what this area is, Summerfield or on State Road 70. So we'll give you both of those. Summerfield, Greenbrook, Sapphire Point, Esplanade Azario, Park East, Lorraine Lakes, Sweetwater, Old School communities, Indigo, Central Park. This is where Lakewood Ranch High School, that's this area right here. That was a very family-centric. A lot of people got in there, great elementaries, middle high schools. And this area is a lot closer to this part of Lakewood Ranch if you kept evolving. Not waterside to Parrish, but if you started creeping to Northeast Lakewood Ranch, this isn't that much further. And is this benefit worth it to you? And then number 3 of our, like the top 4 is like 30% of total sales. So that's what we're focused on here. But number 3 is the juxtaposition that most people take is a look at a lot of people online, in large part to the new construction heaviness, look at Lakewood Ranch as juxtaposed to Welland Park, i.e. South Venice, Western Northport. And that is our number 3. But what's interesting about that area is most of Welland Park, in Welland Park and South Venice is coastal. Why would you do it versus Lakewood? Let's lay that out if you're not deep down my kind of content. Every single community is 18 minutes one way to the beach. That shape of Florida gets you closer to the coast regardless. It is a little bit more laid back. It's a lot more affordable for similar type of construction on average. And a couple of years ago, you had like 3 communities, and now you have like 11 to 12. They're bringing luxury options down there. The same kind of players, Neil, Mattamy, same guys are coming down there. But the thing with South Venice that people mistake, which is in the Welland Park, it's not Central Venice, that is south of the island quite a bit, is that most of Welland Park wasn't realized until very recently. So recorded sales-wise in 2023, a lot of Welland Park did not exist, let alone did those homes close and are on record. So look at this year built for South Venice, 2001. Before Welland Park existed, people were romantic about South Venice for similar reasons already. What it was blue-collar boating. It wasn't urban feeling. It was laid back, looser restrictions, but not as east as Northport. And it felt coastal overall. They have a ferry down there to the beach, and it's quaint, it's coastal, it's old Florida. And this shows you that, of the 1,500 sales, the average was 2001. That's not Welland Park playing in that game. This is going to be a different record in 2 years from now. But food for thought there, because that's the fabric of that area, and that's how that stuff fits. Number 4 is Palmetto. Palmetto is an enigma. If you're not from here, it looks unbelievable on a map. But you're like, why is it? And 452,000 average in Palmetto, I think there's probably some anomalies in there. But if you're out of state, that's confusing because it's frowned upon as far as a high-end community in the Sarasota locals' minds, right or wrong. But what Palmetto is it's a little bit further than Parrish in a similar conversation, and it does creep really close to the coast. You get to both closer to St. Pete and Tampa Bay, and really the Manatee River plays pretty heavy if you catch Palmetto on the Manatee River conversation. Some of the most affordable property, and it depends if you hit Bradenton or Palmetto or whatever, but some of the most affordable property to have access to open water is via the brackish water on Manatee River, which is just north of town before you get to St. Pete and Tampa. And so food for thought there. 2010, interesting. But a lot of South Palmetto that's east, actually people consider Parrish in their minds. A lot of the Esplanade, Taylor Morrison, some of those communities actually technically in Palmetto, which is probably why your years are a little bit higher than the older Palmetto stuff. And then I'll hit Nokomis real quick and then I'll show you how the tool works and I'll let you go here. Don't want to get crazy. But this area I've been talking about a lot. So you come to town, you look at Lakewood Ranch, and you're looking at Welland Park. So what you have is northeast pretty far, and you have coastal south, western Northport a little bit, but fringes. And then what's in between is Sarasota, Central. What if neither one works for you? So people a lot of times are like, what if neither one of those happens? And in between, you have Central Sarasota, you have Southern Sarasota, Palmer Ranch, Gulfgate, that area. And you have 2 little drive-through cities called Nokomis and Osprey. And Osprey is where Pineview, the School for the Gifted, is based, which is like the top elementary school in the country, I think, technically. So a lot of people, it gets on their radar just like Western Bradenton via the IMG and Bolletary Academy. People don't know it exists until they have a landmark. That's a lot of the reason that Osprey and Nokomis happens. But what Venice is you have this island that's central, downtown Venice Island. It's not a barrier island. It's very lovely. It's very close to the beach. All of Venice is close to the beach. And then are you south of it, on it, or north of it? And south of it's Welland Park. That's where they could build new construction. Well, north of it is the in-betweener to Sarasota. So technically maybe more advantageous if all was equal, because what you do is you still get that same vibe. It's more laid back. It's more coastal. It's more quaint and docile. But you don't lose near as much time to Siesta Key, Casey Key, Longboat Key, and downtown Sarasota. So it gives you an in-between option. And Nokomis and South Sarasota, and I'll let this rest here after this, is going to be incredibly interesting in the time to come, because what they're doing now is they're adding a ton of new construction. And in North Venice to Nokomis. Nokomis is where Talon Preserve is based. In North Venice, you have Aria and Silo and Vincenza, and there's more coming. It's going to be more of a conversation for a relocation buyer especially. So there's that. All right. So here's a couple things you can do. And then again, at any point, you can download this tool. It's completely free. You're going to see it as raw it is now. I'm just going to tell you how to do more with it if you want to, or at least get smarter about asking questions if you call us or call a different real estate agent. So what you can do is you can say, okay, the status is sold, and right, there's no other option. Sarasota, Manatee County, leave it open. These are all filters that I just cleaned up to make them more user-friendly. You can say, well, I'm not buying a condo. And I'm not buying a townhouse or villa. This is an example. So let me click single family. And what that does immediately, we had 20,064 records, or 67, remember? That takes it to 13. Okay. So then you could say, well, really realistically, what I'd like to be is anything under $750,000. So you could say, all right, what you do here is whether I'm using a Mac, Command Control, depending on if you're using Mac or Windows, but you click one and then get everything that's under $750,000, which are these three buckets right here. And what that takes is that 13 now down to 10. And you can see even the areas change, right? Paris still stays there, South Venice, but where did Lakewood Ranch go? So it gets less advantageous due to price point or the heaviness of villas or townhomes, whatever it may be. You start to narrow your way down. And then you could say, well, I can't be any square footage. So let's say I'm a 1,600 plus square foot, clicked it once, then I'm holding Command to, let's say 2,500 square feet is where I'd like to be. And then we'll play with that. All right, so now I'm at 5,600 total records. And you can see, did the areas change? If not, yep, similar. And then I threw in months of sold, and you could always click a specific zip code area for later usage, but you can see what you can do here as far as just narrowing in general. And at any of these lines, and we'll do it on a lower line for this conversation, but at any of these lines, and I have a note here just to remind you, you can double click in every single record that is the source of what you're seeing here. You can view every address, the entire gamut. You could go down and say, all right, what looks interesting? East of the trail. So I'm going to save a little money, be around downtown Sarasota, parallel to downtown. I'm east of Tamiami. You can double click any of these lines, and all 24 of those records you saw here exist here. You can see every address. You can look these up in Zillow. You can see what they mean. You can see what that zip code is. You can run formulas and say, he showed average. I want to see median. You can do any of that kind of thing here, and it's a great way to see what I mean there, right? And you can get as crazy as you want, or you cannot do any of that. Another thing that I had, and I'll build out some more like graphs and tables in here maybe before download, but I have primary area here as like everything's keying off of, right? Well, over here, I did property type. So you can say the same records. I want to look at property type, because what I want to do is I'm going to drill down to neighborhood, and I'll talk about the fragility of the neighborhood here in a second as far as records go. But you say, okay, condominiums, I'm a condo person. So obviously if you click condo, it singles it just out, but this gives you a neighborhood view. So I have neighborhood dropped in here, and I say 4,000 condominiums. Okay, where were these sold and what were the prices? Well, what dominates these records is condominium and then neighborhood. So what dominates these records, the Beso Sarasota, which was one of the fastest selling luxury condominium buildings, 149 units. It's in the Quay district adjacent to downtown. Well, then Lakewood National, the really popular, affordable, world-class double golf course community in Lakewood Ranch, is technically condominiums. River Strand's a really interesting, underrated one, old school. Sarasota National is the Lakewood National of Venice. And you can see what I mean there. Now, neighborhoods, there's shades of gray here, because neighborhood name, as far as data integrity in the system, is all over the place. This MLS that we use literally lets you type in any random name. I might be the only person trying to use it for data mining, so it hasn't been a problem up to this point, but I am cleaning that up. I'm going to upload new versions to the site for download once I'm finished fully cleaning that up. I just wanted to get this data to you, but you see what I mean here. If you look at all the different versions that people can type in, it's very, very, very hairy. But you can see what you can do there tool-wise. So what I wanted to do here, and I'll just talk straight to you guys here instead of the screen share, but what I wanted to do was, we've relocated a ton of people, and I've seen what you need, how people go about it for the most part, if you had to guess a rhythm. And I wanted to create something where you could really, really be independent. You could educate yourself. You could use Zillow and all the tools available. You could talk to people, and you could supplement it with something like this to gain as much information as humanly possible. And then in a perfect world, if you took something like this and you talk to someone on my team, it's a handshake. It bridges the gap fully, because the smarter you are when you talk to us, me, whoever it may be, the better the whole experience is, the better for you individually. You're not at the mercy of anyone because they know something you don't know. It just makes you dangerous enough. And this is probably where we sit the most unique, is that this isn't in a silo. I'm not just sitting here making videos and like messing with data and then I push you to someone else. Our organization is very much synced in this thing. Everyone that is with me knows exactly what they're trained on, this kind of thing, because this is a bandwidth issue. Like, my ability to do stuff like this and try to share as much information as possible and help you guys as much as possible comes at the sacrifice of also not being able to individually spend time as much as I would like to with every single person, which makes us in a core competency zone, which 1 + 1 = 3, not 2. So I hope that was valuable. Please grab the download and even give me feedback if there's something you would like to see, if there's something that is hard to find that I'm not considering. I can add any of that and then literally just update the spreadsheet and you guys can download it. So I just wanted to start a conversation. If you give me just one more minute, I want to share some more things with you on the outro and we'll wrap up. All right, so that does it. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, my name is Adam Hancock. This is the Florida Relocation Guide, your smartest way to buy, sell, and/or invest in the entire state of Florida. This is a great place to subscribe if you're trying to do that. You're trying to learn more information. You're looking at moving to an area or just gaining as much knowledge as possible. That's what we're trying to be a resource for. So get your hands on this download. We have a free Sarasota Relocation Guide that's been updated. That's a flip book. Tampa Bay, we're working on in Naples, and the website's a good resource for that. If you want to speak to us directly, we have probably everything you're trying to do. I have an individual agent partner that partners with me. So it's me plus an agent plus a broker. So we have a unique organization in that respect that's done probably everything you're trying to do, and it's just a couple of years ahead. Lakewood Ranch, golfer, French Canadian, several moms that have relocated with us that are now agents. We have South Venice, people that love it. We have people that love historic homes west of the trail, east of the trail, that don't like the suburbs really. Western Bradenton, 6th-generation locals, and everything in between. So please reach out, tell us what you want, what you're looking for, and we will get you fully set up. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope it came across the way that I was intending it to, and we'll see you on the next one.